Dear Frenchman's Cap, it's been 18 months since I saw you last. I was passing through your territory while en route to the Gordon River, retracing for the first time in history Sir John Franklin's 100-kilometre journey taken in 1842. A lot has happened since then. I'm married now. My wife Erin and I tied the knot in October last year, and soon after we found out she was pregnant. I thought it was going to be a girl, but Erin always thought it was going to be a boy. It turns out she was right. In July this year we welcomed him to the world. His name is Scout. He's the most beautiful boy I have ever seen. He's very cheeky and he has his mother's angelic eyes. He has a real problem staying still, and I can't wait for you to be able to meet him. I'm sorry I've not been able to see you in some time. It's not been by choice, but by the powers who claim a sort of hungry possession over you. They deem my desire to explore and share your wonder a threat to your existence. This is the world we live in now. 200 years ago, your presence signified to the convicts of Sarah Island freedom. The cap of liberty, as it was. Long live the cap of liberty. I want you to know I haven't forgotten about you. Your secrets and lost puzzles plague my mind far more than what is considered normal. But forgive me, because I know deep down you have lost something very important to you. It may be considered only a rock to some, but to those men who took shelter below it on the Christmas Eve of 1840, they considered it a lifeline. That was James Calder and 5 of his assigned workers who were helping him cut the track to Macquarie Harbour for our then great governor, Sir John Franklin. The Hobart Walking Club thought they'd founded in 1953, a location documented by several men in decades to follow, including PhD geologist Chris Sharpless. But this was a dolomite formation, not a quartz rock, as described by its discoverer, Calder. And this incorrectly claimed feature that is still marked Christmas Rock on maps today is miles away from the famous pass in which it was said to lay below. This is why I am visiting. I need to confirm if a chance photograph taken a year ago by a local bushwalker is indeed the true Christmas Rock, as I very well believe it may be. I'll be staying down for a couple of nights, and while I'm in the neighbourhood, I'd also like to try to locate the old prospector's hut known as the Halfway Dump. This hut, as I'm sure you're aware, was located south of the Loddon Plains and was used by many parties coming or going from Council Pass on the way to the Jane River goldfields a few miles southeast. It is true that this is not the first time I have come looking for the Halfway Dump. 3 years ago, with Levi and Hugh on the way to find Stannard's grave, we searched the entire area bordering south of the Loddon Plains, albeit without success. Although I have several photographs and a handful of trip reports, none of them gave me enough evidence to accurately pinpoint the hut's location. That was until September this year, when Stephen Flay shared online an article of his father's 1945 thylacine expedition into the Jane River, his father being the renowned biologist David Flay. It was for the first time I had ever seen the background behind the hut, and from what I could make out, appeared to be the slope of a hill. So I reached out to Stephen, who provided me some original 35mm scans which confirmed my observations. With this new information, using LIDAR imagery, I was able to research the bottom of the plains for a backdrop hill, most of which being far too large to represent the shown hill in the photograph. Originally I pinpointed on this area. The photograph being taken pointing south of this area provides a slight rise leading up to the hut marked by an orange line, and a plausible hill behind it marked in red, all of course being within close proximity to the creek for an easy water supply. This seemed to fit perfect with a photograph taken by Chris Binks in January 1951. The photograph was taken between the hours of 10:15 and 11:20 am and features David Pinkard facing a rising sun. Recreating this on Shadow Calculator shows that the sun would have been high enough over Mount Emma for this to be possible, leaving the southwestern shadow falling on the side of the hut. Once I'd narrowed the scope, I searched the historic aerial imagery, and the oldest photograph I could find was from 1949, which provided no clear evidence of the hut's existence. That was until compared to the same photograph taken in 1974, a highlighted area in the same spot 25 years later. This had to be it, I thought. How heartbroken I was to find in the next photograph, one from 1984, a totally different landscape. Free of undergrowth, it was evident a bushfire had swept the plains. A quick check on the list confirmed my suspicions, but something was still visible where the hut stood. Could it be that part of it had survived? I'm desperate to know. We have much to look forward to, Frenchman's Cap, and I'll be seeing you real soon. Yours faithfully, Rob.
Keep trying to fit inside the lines now. What if we never do? Sick of standing on the outside of a crowded room. Rainbows in our eyes can't seem to find the great divide and get to the bottom. Could be somebody else, but who the hell would tell themselves it's us that's the problem? Sometimes it feels like nobody's listening. Sharks in the water, but just keep swimming. We'll never fit in with the rest. We've all got monsters under beds. We'll never change it, 'cause darling, we're different. Would they notice if we got lost, if we disappeared? And tell me right after this rainstorm that the smoke will clear. Looking at our dreams on movie screens and magazines, don't see a reflection. Could be somebody else, but who the hell would tell themselves it's us that's the problem? Sometimes it feels like nobody's listening. Sharks in the water, but just keep swimming. We'll never fit in with the rest. We've all got monsters under beds. We'll never change it, 'cause darling, we're different. Sticks and stones make a wish on a star. I don't ever wanna be different than who we are. Sticks and stones make a wish on a star. I don't ever wanna be different than who we are. Sometimes it feels like nobody's listening. Sharks in the water, but just keep swimming. We'll never fit in with the rest. We've all got monsters under beds. We'll never change it, 'cause darling, we're different. Sometimes it feels like, 'cause darling, we're different. Sharks in the water, 'cause darling, we're different. We'll never fit in with the rest. We've all got monsters under beds. We'll never change it, 'cause darling, we're different. Maybe we're just a little bit different.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the bottom of the Loddon Plains. A very rarely seen sight. At least for the last few decades it is anyway. So I've just made my way from the Frenchmans Cap car park all the way down here. It's taken me like 7 hours of bloody hard yakka. But I'm pleased to say we are in within 200 metres of where the hut site should be. According to my research and equations and assumptions and calculations. So yeah, we'll go and have a look.
My legs are cramping so bad. I'm in so much pain. I've never been in this much pain bushwalking in my life. Like every single time I lift my leg, it cramps up. And in different spots, like in the back and the sides, each leg too. But I'm about 3 or 4 meters away from my marking, just through this barra. Come on, be good. Give me something. Ah, shit. Far out. How am I? I'm so screwed. I need to really get camp set up. To get this hut found. This is absolutely mental. The amount of effort that I've gone to today and pain just to visit this site. But that's definitely the fireplace over there. This green wall here is a cutout from where they had shaped the bank, and there's a little cutout here as well, just in there. So it is perfectly the right size for the halfway dump. It's incredible how overgrown it is in here. Like, so this probably has been growing since the 80s, all of this Bowra. So it'd be 40 years old. Just about as thick as it gets, really. We have a nail right there. This is part of the hut. Might be a celery top post. You can see they've notched it out there. There's a nail. Look at this. That's part of the hut too. It's charcoal. That whole section down there. What the hell was that? Big rod there. Look at that big bolt. Which is pretty firmly rooted into the ground. I reckon it's grown into that tree root there. Well, I don't know if there's too much more to really see here. It's so hidden with vegetation and time. But at least I found it. I found it. And I know exactly where it was, and that's huge for me, because it's these type of things that just stay on my mind, and I look into every article and every little clue that I get about some things, and still it's not enough. But it was this David Flea's photograph that had that hill in the background that just, it was the final piece of the puzzle for me. So I'm stoked. I'm stoked that I can stop thinking about this place.
Although I was finally granted closure on the halfway dump, my time here in the South Loddon Plains was far from over. Tomorrow I would be attempting to climb up Calder Pass and drop down into Lightning Plains to find Christmas Rock, and return again before dark. So I needed to find a suitable campsite somewhere below the pass to set up a base camp.
Now you might be thinking, Rob, where the hell are you going to set up a tent? There's no room. And you're right, there isn't. But the guys from Alton have sent me this lightweight hammock so I can sleep in the air. So, I think it should be pretty simple. Got these two straps here, and these just go around the tree.
I should probably clarify too, Alton are not paying me to promote their products, nor am I receiving any type of commission from sharing this link. So put your lawyers away, Parks and Wildlife, and try to make yourselves useful.
So I've got my hammock, and I've also got my underquilt that goes underneath the hammock, and I'm just threading it now into the bug net. So once I've got these threaded in, I should just be able to go ahead and connect them to the ropes that I've got on the trees. Beautiful. Now all we need is the tarp over the top. And then, to top it off, we've got the Neve Gear quilt. Just in time for the rain. I'm frothing on this setup. The reason that I wanted to get this kit was because there's so many places, like if you're pack rafting and you're in steep kind of country or whatever, to be able to set up a hammock where it doesn't matter if you can have flat ground or not is just so handy. And I mean, all this stuff is very lightweight, so I can throw it in the bag and it's like less than a tent. Hot cocoa. This is the life. So it's 8:30 now, guys. I reckon I could easily get some sleep. So I'll see you in the morning. Nothing like a bit of real coffee out here in the bush. Well, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a bit nervous about today. I've set myself a massive task of getting to Christmas Rock and back here and back to the car park so I can make it home by tonight. I just don't know if it's going to happen. I've allocated 2.5 hours to get to Christmas Rock and 2.5 to get back. If I can do that, I've got enough time to walk out from here back to the car. But if not, I guess I'll either be sleeping here again or further up the track. Well, one thing's for sure, I'm not letting this go this time.
So after a quick bite to eat, it was time to start the journey up Colders Pass.
I'm trying to find the route that I took last time on my Footsteps of the Franklins, which I've got a recording of. So.
Although retracing my last ascent up the pass, I certainly would not be retracing my last descent. Those that have watched my 7-part series in the Footsteps of the Franklins will remember bad scrub pushing me north of the pass and along a creek which almost had me walk off an unmarked waterfall. This time I'd be sticking well south and following a ridge down to the plains.
Gonna need at least 2 litres, I reckon. I've just come across this teepee looking structure. Somebody's built that. Look, sticks laying across there, and then all of these ones here, the ones on the back, they've all come off this busted hardwood over here. I'd love to know like what decade that was. Mad.
So up and over the pass I went, and before long I emerged at a scrubby ridge, which back in 1842 afforded some impressive views over the plains below, according to David Byrne, who recorded the original expedition.
Holy shite! Look at that view! Oh! So I've hardly been filming any of this stuff today because it's such a bloody jungle, and for me, like, the only priority is getting there and back to my camp in one day. The idea of me getting back to the car today is a joke, but I'm only about half an hour away from Christmas Rock now, and it's like almost 11, so we're not too far out. But I just have to be careful not to waste too much time because I probably won't get back there until dinner. We are so close to Christmas Rock now, guys. I can't believe it. It's been a year since I was here last. Longer, a year and a half, and I just narrowly scraped by it. The birds were telling me where it was, but I wasn't listening. I can hear the birds now. Oh, that's it. Is that it? No. I don't think that's it. Yep, certainly looks like quartz, but I don't think that's Christmas rock. I think it's further on. That is Christmas rock. Yes, that is it. That is it. And look at that overhang. Oh, no way. What's that? This must be really, really old. What is that? That's a really old bottle. Oh, man. Christmas rock. It certainly looks like quartz to me. Look at that overhang though. That is so much more than I ever imagined it would be. It's like an awning. All right. I didn't come all this way just to tell you this is Christmas rock without verifying it. So I've got a checklist here. Christmas rock checklist. Does it fit Calder's description after traversing the pass, in which he said, "We descend into another considerable plain, about 6 miles long by 1/2 or 3/4 of a mile broad. That being Lightning Plains, which is just out there. The area being about 2,000 or 3,000 acres. A remarkable overhanging rock stands at the entrance of this dreary solitude. Pretty evident a fragment of the rocky masses of the Frenchman above, from which, in some past age, it has probably been detached to the spot it occupies, where it looks now as firmly rooted as the mountain which it descended from." That is a tick. He also said that him and the party that was sleeping here were woken up from the thunderstorm and lightning, and they climbed up on top of it to watch it. Is this able to be climbed up? Definitely. It's only probably, I would say, 8 meters high. And it's got a pretty nice little arch. We'll go around there and have a look later, and I'll see if I can climb up it. So 2 ticks. Now, That's it for Calder's descriptions. We'll go into Burns' checklist. Is it a bold, solitary, and picturesque rock? As according to Burns, yes, it is, definitely. Is it possible to reach this rock from the bare scrubby ridge in 28 minutes, as according to Burns' recording times? If you have a cut track, definitely that's achievable. It's probably only 1.5 kilometers from the scrubby ridge, if that. Is it possible in 10 minutes heading southwest to reach a creek crossing, as according to Burns' times that he recorded? Yes, there's a creek not too far from here. If you head southwest, you will hit it in way less than 10 minutes. Does it contain a front overhanging on its eastern side, as according to Burns? Well, I've got a compass here, and let's have a look. Now I would say, so there's the overhang, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is signed, sealed, and delivered. This is Christmas rock. This is Christmas rock. Pretty easy to climb. There's even a little creek down there. This would have been an awesome camp for Calder and the men. So I'm standing on top of Christmas Rock, and because everything's overgrown, you obviously can't see anything. But back in 1840, there was a clear view all across these plains, because of the Aboriginal burning or bushfires or whatever. Totally different vegetation. But wow, I'm just amazed. I feel in awe of this place. I'm so glad that I decided to come back, because just was one of the main things I wanted to find when I did that in the footsteps of the Franklin's expedition, and it was the one that got away, and I'll never live it down. But I finally came back. I got it. It's it. This is it. And there's so much writing out there that tries to tell otherwise, but none of it's true. None of it. This belongs in a museum. This has got to be like, this would be 200 years old. I wouldn't be surprised if this was like made by convicts or something. It's pottery.
I did a bit of quick research once I was home, and it turns out the Victoria Museum has a bottle very similar to this in their collection. This type of stoneware does indeed date back to when Sir John Franklin and his party took their expedition in 1842.
What an awesome find. Time to start the long walk home. Goodbye, Christmas rock. We did it. It's 3:30. So what's that? 7.5 hours up, over and back.